Hello, Bush friends, and a shout out to Jillian_home cooking on Instagram for wanting this video. It will be a two-part video series. This is part one. This is what we put in our children's stockings. We also add usually underwear and socks because kids always seem to need them, especially socks, or little slippers, fuzzy socks, things like that. I'm a sucker for vintage rosaries. They're just, I think, are made to last longer, and they're stronger. So my kids have like 2 rosaries each. These are ones in the past they got for Christmas that were vintage. We found my son Wesley actually got this one. We went to Darward's Glen in the old chapel they don't use anymore. Some lady donated all her Catholic things like holy cards, necklaces, crosses, rosaries, and we each got to pick one thing, and this is the rosary he picked. It's all metal. Holy cards you can put in. These are the candies we get from Aldi's. They're German chocolate. They have hollow Santas. They do have a pack that has a really big hollow Santa with other candies too in it, and bells and stuff. I like the little St. Nicholas's. And then of course we do the coins for St. Nicholas, because one of the stories is there was a man who had 3 daughters and he could not marry them because he didn't have the money to pay to have his daughters married, her dowry. So Nicholas inherited all this money after his parents passed, and he left money for them so they could all be married off, and they were all married off. So we always put in coins, and these are the ones from Aldi's, the German chocolate. I will never buy the cheap coins for my kids. Those are the best. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. This is my scapular. They do get pretty worn, and sometimes they get lost in the laundry and stuff. Or forgotten if you go swimming and you take it off. So if your child is missing their scapular, you could add that into their stocking as well. And if you're not Catholic and looking for ideas to put in their stocking, you guys do have your little catechism books you guys could put in there, or an Our Father prayer card, or a cross necklace. There's earrings. I mean, there's lots of things you can do. And like I said, we always put necessities in there too, for socks and underwear, or some cute puffy slippery, like slipper socks, not slippery. Yeah, so let's get into the video. All right, guys, let's get right into it. This is how you make a seamless stocking. I originally last year, this blue jean teddy bear was not on here. I just recently added that. That was actually really tricky to add this to the stockings that were done and fit this opening into the sewing machine. But as you can see, there's no seams, not even with your hook to hook it up, to hang it up, or there's got some fraying from that, but there's no seam underneath either. So I'm going to show you guys how to make this stocking. So first of all, you need some fabric, whatever you want to pick for the outside of your stocking. And this was our tree skirt last year, and I've been making more stockings for other family members because our family is growing. So I decided to use this, so they were all red like the other ones. Just picked up new fabric. This stuff, which I'll probably eventually use for stockings in the future, for the inside or the cuff, but right now it's our tree skirt this year. So we're going to use this red material, and we want to put right sides facing together because it's going to be stitched that way. Right sides facing together when we cut. And we want 2 layers. So we're going to fold them, put both layers right side together. This was a circular tablecloth. So if you don't want to spend the money on some yardage on fabric, you could always check out St. Vincent's de Paul's for tablecloths. Right now they probably don't have a lot of Christmas stuff left, but when it's out of season is a good time to pick it up, or when they first get their Christmas stuff out, you can pick out tablecloths or fabric pieces, yards of it that people never use and then end up donating. And that's how I got this. It was like almost 6 yards. So that was a great find. So here's my pattern. Now what you can do is if you have an older stocking, you could trace it, and if you don't like, if it's too small, just add on the same amount all the way around to increase your pattern size. So let's see. Okay, so we fit on here. So we're gonna cut this out. We have right sides facing each other. So we're gonna have 2. And once I discovered that I liked this pattern I made, I kept it out of, it's a dog food bag, just so it wouldn't get ripped and stuff being stored. It's a little bent stuff, but I just put my weight on it and cut around her. Okay, so we have 2 of these. And the reason why I went with such a big pattern was because we do like to put socks and underwear in the stockings sometimes when they need them. So this accommodates for that. You need 2 inside pieces. And I'm going to use this red, white, and blue sparkly stars that I have laying around. That should fit a stocking. And again, you want your fabric right sides together. We're going to use, since it lays more flat for us, we'll use a stocking piece. Alrighty, so now we have 2 outside stocking pieces, right sides together, and we have 2 inside stocking pieces, right sides together. It's the only tape measure I could find, but so now we're going to measure the top of the stocking. It's about 10 inches. Top of the stocking. So they're about the same, 10 inches. Don't want your cuff too small. And that's about perfect. And the width on this cuff is about 3.5, so we're going to double that. We're going to do 7.25. You could decide to do whatever size cuff you want to do. Depends on your stocking. So we cut 7.5 or 7.25 inches wide for the cuff, and it matches up with the stockings for 10 inches long. Now, we also need a tab to hang the stocking, like this one. And you can choose a different pattern if you'd like. So if you use all the same colored fabrics on your stockings, they all match, your tab could be different. That's how you could tell the difference of whose stocking's who. That's how we originally did it, but then like I said, we added the blue jean teddy pictures, Christmas one, so everyone has a different one. And I think we're gonna do red cuff, red loop for attaching it. So we're gonna use, this is reference, and this is 3 inches wide by 6.5 long. Follow the lines on here. It's going to be slightly bigger, but it's just easier to cut a straight line if there's a line on your fabric. All right, so all the pieces that we need for our stocking is a piece to hang it from, your stocking cuff, 2 pieces of stocking, right sides together cut out for the outside of your stocking, 2 pieces of fabric of your choosing, right sides together for the lining of your stocking. And we're gonna get them ready for sewing. So this one, we want right sides together. And with this one, we're gonna do right sides together, fold it in half. And then we're gonna stitch along here. I almost forgot to mention, so this is the panel that I'm going to put on front of my stocking. I did iron over all 4 corners first, so there's no raw edges. All right, decide if you're going to put a panel on the front, decide which side of the stocking, if you want your stocking to face this way, or if you wanted your front to face the opposite way, left or right. So we're going to pin this bugger on here. All right, guys, so the first step in sewing your stocking is if you're having some type of front piece of fabric, like I showed you with the blue jean teddy, you would have to sew that on first and on the right side with your picture facing up. So both your fabrics, right sides are facing you. Okay, so now we have both outside pieces, right sides together. The blue jean teddy bear is on the inside, and we're gonna sew all the way around the edges except for the top of the stocking. We're gonna do the same with the inside pieces, right sides together. Now have your cuff to the stocking. You fold it in half so it's short, not the long way, but the short way. And we're going to stitch along the edge as well. Same with your piece of fabric that holds up your stocking. You're going to fold it in half the long way this time, right sides together, and sew down the side. And I always suggest you go back over every seam you just did a straight seam on and do a zigzag. So we're going to take the end part of the stocking and we're going to turn it right side out. You don't have to make it all perfectly nice, but the top you want laid out nice. And your outside part is still right sides together. We're going to stuff your inside part into the outside part. Right sides facing each other. Kind of want to flatten it out on top, and you can match up your seams on either side. Here's your cuff. Right now it's right sides together. We're going to fold it out towards itself and in half. So you have both seam sides together. Put seam to seam. Just even it out. You can iron it if you would like. That helps you. Then we also have your part that hangs it up, and right now it's right sides together, so we're going to flip that so outside or right sides are on the outsides. So the right sides are on the outside. You can use your finger or your scissors if you want. It's not very long, so I just use my finger or give it a couple whacks. And then with the seam facing you, the seam's on the inside, but what you can see pointing, put it in the middle, and I fold it in half. Now take your cuff and you're going to put it between the two layers. So if you want to put that seam of yours right here, lined up with the seam again, you can slightly put it on the other side so it's not so bulky there. And then take your inside and put it on the other side. And you can pin it in place. So we're going to do that all the way around. So now we have our piece that hangs up, and you have the two raw edges right here together, so it makes a loop. Now you want to put this in there right so it comes out right. So figure out which end you want it on, and you want it to come, you want to put it in one of the seam edges, so right or left, and you're going to put it in like this so your raw edges are facing out with all the other ones. Up next to the cuff, the raw edges are facing out, folded in half. And then your inside fabric is facing towards Then we're going to pin that in place. Okay, so your end result is wrong sides facing out. Everything is stuffed in your stocking. And we're going to sew all the way around the top of the stocking. I'm going to pull out your inside one. So you got your seam ripper, and we're gonna rip apart a little part of the inside part of the stocking so we can bring it all through. Let's see if we can fit her through. We're gonna pull everything out. And try not to rip your stocking as you do this. The hole, I mean. So there's our outside. No seam. Cuff rolls down. No seam. We have our hanger here to hang it up. Good string. Here's the inside of our stocking. This is where we pulled it all out from, so we're going to run a stitch along this to keep it closed so your stuff doesn't fall down in your stocking. So that's all stitched up. So now we're gonna open up our stocking and we're gonna shove the liner down in there. So trim all any threads you find. And there you have it, a seamless stocking. No seams. Just remember the tricky part to get this right so it's not stuck on this side underneath your cuff. You want it next to your inside pattern and your cuff pattern. So here's the finished product. Like I said, you can iron this, so if you want everything to lay flatter, nicer, you can iron it. Stay tuned for part 2 on what we cook for St. Nicholas Feast Day. I will cook the bread with you guys. The rest of the food I'm not going to prepare until St. Nicholas Feast Day, but I will give you some recipes to follow. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.